couple months ago, INEOS signed Omar Barada out of nowhere. No links, no speculation, no rumours. It was a done deal. INEOS seem to be doing that again with two more shock sackings taking place. There was lots of rumours about Arnold and Murtaugh's future, but pretty much everyone on the board of executives who's going, INEOS are really doing the complete overhaul. We will discuss that and INEOS's plan of action, more changes they're going to make, and some good reports detailing some future plans, which are particularly exciting for change all around the club to prioritise sporting success. Now, to prioritise sporting success, we've got to actually do well in the transfer window, sell well, sign well, recruit well, and there's a couple bargain deals out there that INEOS might be exploring, particularly at centre-back with 2 or 3 signings likely. So we will dive in to the centre-back news, and then we're going to talk about Ten Hag's future, news surrounding Ten Hag being uncertain on his future and more. So please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe down below for new and give me 10 minutes of your time because I'm going to round up all the Manchester United news you need to know in the next 10 minutes. Starting with this statement that came out by Manchester United. Statement FC this season. This must be our 10th or so statement that's come out, but it's not a negative statement, so it's fine. Manchester United has made 2 further changes to its executive leadership. By mutual consent, Patrick Stewart, interim CEO, and Cliff Batty, chief financial officer, have decided to leave the club at the end of the season. Patrick will be replaced by CEO Jean-Claude Blanc until the arrival of Omar Barada on July 13th. Cliff Batty will be replaced as CFO by Roger Bell. So Batty, Stewart, nobody's safe. Everybody's gone. Murtaugh, Arnold, Batty, Stewart, everybody is going. INEOS are doing a complete overhaul. Obviously, Blanc coming in, who's, with his good work at Juventus and PSG, and he'll then obviously be on the board of directors. There are reports of bringing in more people in recruitment, like Sam Williams, which we'll talk about later on. But I like that, we weren't really expecting this to happen, but there was a feeling there would probably be these changes anyway. And they just announced, oh yeah, by the way, this person's gone, that person's gone. That's happened. There you go. Bish bash bosh. I like that INEOS are getting things done, and I think with Ten Hag's future, I think a lot of the reports and articles coming out on Ten Hag's future is speculation, because I think INEOS have probably got a decision on Ten Hag's future, if he's going to stay, if he's going to go, and if he is going to go, they've probably got an idea on who they're going to replace him with. And I think as soon as they announce what Ten Hag's future is, if Ten Hag goes, I think only a few days later they'll announce the next manager. I think INEOS secretly know what they're doing with Ten Hag and keeping it quiet, but the media is desperate to get some clicks and stuff, and is writing this article and that article. I feel like that's the same with Ten Hag. But we're not here to talk about Ten Hag's future. Let's dive into this. Jim Ratcliffe said he'd personally like to thank both Stewart and Cliff Batty for their support in helping us get to know the club and making us feel welcome. I respect decisions to move on as we can establish a new management team for the club. They were sort of there in interim roles, get them to know the club, get them to find their feet in the ground, and then they're going to move them on and bring in new people. They want a fresh start everywhere. And obviously Omar Barada will assume the role of the United CEO, and then he'll move into the board of directors, where he will again have some sort of influence. But it's good to have sort of Blanc as CEO until Omar Barada can start. But let's talk about more big changes present. Adam Crafton said Manchester United staff were informed on Tuesday of an all-company meeting scheduled for Wednesday, where Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Blanc would be present, and plans for the next step of INEOS restructure would be revealed. So as you can see, INEOS have sort of been at the club sort of 2-3 months. They sort of overhauled the upper club now. They're also overhauling the lower club structure, bringing in people in recruitment, bringing in people in sports science, bringing in a fitness coach. INEOS are sort of making the changes at the top. They're making the changes just above Ten Hag, and then they will probably make the changes potentially on Ten Hag, and then obviously in the summer they'll make the changes below Ten Hag, which will be the personnel. But they're planning their complete restructure of the club. Sam Williams could potentially come in. Wilcox is in, and he's been assessing the club, coming up with a style of play, leaning over and planning for transfers as well. And Barada, even though he's on gardening leave, has had contact with obviously those at INEOS. Man City being quite lenient, and there's a hope that they can get the Dan Ashworth deal done, but Newcastle being difficult. Simon Stone said on this was pretty significant news at Old Trafford last night. Barada's start date has now been confirmed. Everyone knew he was coming, but the start date was never confirmed. He said, as well as that news, Patrick Stewart and Cliff Batty will leave, and they'll be replaced by Roger Bell and obviously Barada, but before that, Jean-Claude Blanc. He said that he's been assured that Stewart's exit is amicable, and he plans to pursue other projects as well. It is a further sign the changes INEOS are driving through Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Sir Dave Brailsford, and he said their mission is to drive United back to the top of the English game. They are not wasting any time as they go about it. And I do think, obviously, actions will speak louder than words, and we won't be fully able to judge INEOS until 2-3 years down the line, because a lot of changes that need to be made. But INEOS seem quite ambitious. They seem that they want to get United back to the top, and they are making those changes all around the club, which makes me think there could be a change of manager. But, you know, I'd like Ten Hag to stay and be successful if we can actually build the right environment around Ten Hag and recruit properly. So let's talk about recruitment. Let's talk about signings, because Football Today was saying that Manchester United want to agree deal for Colombian star. It was said that Manchester United Bologna, I can never pronounce that right, Bologna centre-back John Lucumi for summer transfer as per Claro Sport. With interest in defenders like Bremer and Branthwaite, they're on Lucumi, who will be a lot cheaper, potentially competing with Atletico and Juventus. His value could rise due to competition, but reports suggest he could be 20 million euros. I reckon he'll be 25 million pounds. Competition, Man United tax. His arrival could free up funds for a young defender. Amid financial constraints, United may focus on emerging talents over big names, as hinted by Kiona, Serge and Ratcliffe. Now, I'm not sure what United are going to do in the centre-back window, but I think we're going to be signing 2, potentially 3 centre-backs. And I think while Branthwaite and Antonio Silva are massively admired by the club, I do think when you're looking at the price of Lucumi, left centre-back, we need someone that's going to cover Martinez if he's injured, very good on the ball. There's definitely a good option there. Also on the transfer front, we'll probably get about £5 million for Alvaro Fernandez, which for me is a joke. We could easily get £15 million for him, but that is Manchester United. Some reports by Graham Bailey saying that Sporting CP striker Victor Gyökeres is on Manchester United's radar, and United have been watching him, and talks have been held to keep an eye on him. I'm sure United are watching Gyökeres. I'm sure he's on the radar, but I'm sure he's going to be over £60 million, which will be out of United's budget, and I think he'll probably go elsewhere. I think Sesko with £42 million release clause, Xerxes reportedly being £35 million, although he seems Juventus bound, probably more what United are watching. I think Gyökeres is great. Just can't see us spending more than 60 million on a position. And with how good Gyökeres has been this season, the competition for him, I think he will be over 60 million. The other player that I can't see us spending more than 60 million on, that I know we definitely like, and I know this player will be open to the move, is Michael Elise. He has a huge release clause in excess of 60 million, according to Graham Bailey, and Palace do not want to sell him, and he will only leave if the clause is paid. Now, I think he'll probably go for 50 to 55 million, Elise, with his injury record, him sort of forcing the move. I think Palace will probably cash in on that for him just because of injuries and contract being run down. More so in the transfer front, I want to talk about the centre-back situation. It was said that I think Manchester United will bring in 2 centre-backs this summer, 1 starter and 1 young player. I think the young one could be someone like Aaron Anselmo from Boca Juniors. United like him or not, and there's talks going on. I think there's a real chance that happens there. I heard some inside information about Anselmo sort of being brought in and loaned to Nice, which is going to bring you into this. Man United will sign a centre-back this summer and could potentially sign 2 or 3 depending on sales. Todibo will be available for 34 to 40 million and is keen on the move to the Prem. Man United are strong admirers of Todibo. Their relationship with INEOS, who owns Nice, could give them an advantage if they choose to pursue the player over other centre-back targets. Additionally, reports from South America indicate that talks have been ongoing with Man United and Boca over a price for Anselmo, who has been scouted extensively with a potential offer expected on June. The scenario of signing both Todibo and Anselmo, followed by loaning Anselmo to Nice, could be one to keep an eye on. And that sort of information I've been told and information that I've read upon on those players. I think, you know, Lucumi, that sort of Italian media linking us to him, nothing crazy reliable in that. But Todibo was a player that United generally have been watching, and United do have a genuine interest in. Same with Anselmo, and same with a couple other players that I've not mentioned yet. But I think United signing Todibo and Anselmo and potentially another centre-back if Maguire, Lindelof and Varane do all leave is definitely possible. Now, continuing on to this, I said this, Man United must be smart this summer and take advantage of potential bargains in the market. So, according to reports, Todibo will be available for 34 to 38 million pounds. Youssouf Fofana, who is at Monaco, has 1 year left on his contract, and reliable sources said that he could be available for 25 million pounds. Lucumi is reportedly available for about 17 million pounds, but I think that'll be pushed up to 25 million. Florian Plettenberg is saying that Xerxes is available for 35 million pounds, and there's some suggestions of that being a release clause. Nico Williams reportedly has a 42.9 million pound release clause, so 43 million release clause. And Sule, that's at Juventus. Juventus would be willing to sell him for 30 million euros. He's had a very good season. He could be available for about 25 million pounds. I think when United needs 6-7 signings, you've got to look at this guy. Fofana's 25 million, Amadou Onana 60 million. Why don't you get Fofana, and then you've got 35 million left to maybe go for a João Gomez, and you can get 2 for the price of 1, and João Gomez can play more advanced. Definitely one to keep an eye on. But let's continue on into the final story, and this is on Ten Hag's future. Erik Ten Hag left in dark over United future and does not know whether he'll start 24-25 as manager. HITC sources claim that as it stands, Ten Hag is entirely in the dark over his tenure. The report adds that he's privately admitted that he does not know whether he'll still be in charge beyond the end of the season. I think there's a lot of indications that he might go. I kind of like Ten Hag to stay and be given time. I'd like to see Ten Hag be successful at United, because I think unless we change the squad and we change the environment, the next manager is not going to be successful, and I'm fed up with sacking managers. But considering INEOS are changing every aspect of this club, you know, Stuart Batty leaving, I have a feeling that Ten Hag will go. I have a feeling that INEOS know what they're going to do. They probably know that Ten Hag's going to go. They probably know who they're going to bring in. But like they did with everything else, they're probably going to keep that really quiet and announce that at the end of the season, a bit like Louis van Gaal didn't really know anything to his future till after the FA Cup final. I think Ten Hag's in the same situation as Louis van Gaal. But I do think, you know, if there's no alternatives available to replace Ten Hag with, because De Zerbi is expensive and not that good, Graham Potter's not completely convincing, Ten Hag stays. But I think because Tuchel wants the job and INEOS are looking at Tuchel, which obviously I have a few concerns about Tuchel, you know, calling out Kim Min-jae, blaming him for the loss publicly, falls out with the board. I do have a few concerns about Tuchel. Ultimately, I do know that Tuchel's a very, very good manager and he's probably the best option available. And, you know, on paper, he is a better manager than Ten Hag. So potentially INEOS do go for Tuchel. Anyway, let me know your thoughts down below. Please do hit that like button. Of course, subscribe. See you next time. Bye.